My husband got another woman pregnant. We divorced, and now he wants me back to raise his son. Me and my husband divorced after he got a young chick pregnant. After months of therapy, I moved on and even went on dates. He didn't marry the side piece, although this is what she hoped for. He bought a 3-room apartment for the baby and her, but never really moved in with them. She is from a somehow poor family with an autistic young brother and partially disabled mother. She took care of both, as father was not in the picture. So, she sure hoped that baby-trapping a good-looking man with money is her ticket to a better life. I talked with a common friend of me and my ex, and besides this, she also said that probably her mother was pushing her in baby-trapping him. The details of the disabled family members I found about recently. So this side piece was very mean to me, and texted me at the time she got pregnant how she got my husband, and called me old bore. I am almost 40, but it still hurt. So their son is now 1 year old. Her and my ex hate each other and are violent with each other. He hit her with his belt and slapped her. She hit him too and threw things at him. The main problem is that she is leaving the child unattended and even leave the house to get his attention or make him angry. She's taking depression medication and is quite hysterical and has anger control issues. My ex texted me to meet and talk because he is sorry. Actually, he wanted to take full custody of the child and remarry me so I can raise his son because she is too young and unstable. I told him to F off, blocked him. I don't regret I told him to F off. He ruined my life. He was a 40-year-old man who acted like a teenager. He hurt me and scarred me for life. Now, I date someone and he tried to make me dump that guy so we can be a family again. I just hate him. I am not really asking here for any advice as I don't intend to do anything. But morally, I am confused and feel sorry for that child. I just wanted to let it all out also, because I kind of feel satisfaction that the side piece is not happy either, and he chose an emotionally unstable woman. And well, I feel like a bad person somehow. I think I will go back to therapy because it's not good to feel happy when someone is in that state of mind as that woman is. P.S. She is not too young. She was 25 when the baby was born. AIT for not inviting my father to my wedding because he disowned me after knowing that I wasn't his biological child. So let's get into it, I guess. Almost a decade ago, my dad found out that my mum cheated on him with another guy years ago, through my mother's sister. Back then, my mum and aunt weren't in good terms, so she told Dad everything. My parents fought over this, and Dad filed for divorce. We all got DNA tested, and out of 3 children, I was the only one who wasn't his. It felt so bad to know that your dad, who raised you for almost 16 years, wasn't really your dad. That didn't feel as bad as him kicking me out of his house when I was begging him not to. I wished I could just kill myself when he disowned me. My mum went into a depressive state and would just spend all day in bed and would just get out to use the toilet. My grandparents lived in a different state, but they did everything they could to make our lives better. I needed to come home from school, do all the chores in the house and tend to my mum and check on her. I did everything that could possibly be done to make sure we lived. I would ask my mum who my real dad was, but all I got was screaming or a hit. My siblings and grandparents from Dad's side tried to make things right between me and Dad, but he wouldn't budge. Apparently, I was just a reminder that Mum cheated on him and nothing else. I remember my 17th birthday, when no one remembered that it was my birthday. I cried to the point where I didn't have any tears left, even when I graduated from high school. Only my grandmother came. Why didn't my feelings matter to anyone? Why was I supposed to endure this? After I returned from my graduation, I told Mum that I was leaving if she doesn't tell me who my real dad is, and this time, she did tell me who he was. I met him after finding where he lived. I discovered that I have a half-brother, and that my real father was a widower and a doctor. He didn't know that I existed, or the fact that Mum was married. It took us time, but we built a bond, and he helped to get through college and he walked me down the aisle. He even got Mum some help, and I am forever grateful to him. Well, present time me, 26F, was married to my lovely fiancé last week, and I didn't invite my ex-dad to my wedding. He tried to contact me before the wedding, but I don't want anything to do with him. My siblings and grandparents from ex-dad's side say I am wrong, and that he wanted to come and make things right, but I don't want to make things right. He had the right to abandon me, so I have a right to do the same. He isn't my father. He was once upon a time, but not now. I understand that he was hurt, but I was hurt too. Everyone tells me to let go of the grudge, but I just don't want him in my life, and no, I won't give him another chance. My husband understands, but no one else seems to understand what I had to go through to get to where I am now. He cannot just come to my life 9.5 fucking years later and expect things to be all right. AITAH for refusing to take my sister's kids to school after they've been bullying my son. A bit of background. My sister, Sarah, and her 2 kids, Jake, 14M, and Mia, 12F, recently moved in with us after Sarah went through a rough divorce. She's been staying with us for about 6 months now, and we've tried to be as accommodating as possible. My wife, Laura, and I have one son, Ethan, a 13M. At first, everything was fine, and the kids got along okay. Over the last few months, however, Jake and Mia have been making Ethan's life miserable. They've been teasing him constantly, calling him names, and even going through his things when we're not around. It's been especially bad for Ethan because he's more introverted and quiet. He's come to us multiple times, upset about things they've said or done, and I've tried addressing it with Sarah. Her response has been pretty dismissive, saying, "It's just normal sibling stuff, they'll grow out of it." The tipping point came last week when Ethan told me that Jake had taken his school project, something he'd spent days working on, and ruined it by drawing all over it. Ethan was in tears. When I confronted Jake, he laughed it off like it was a joke. Sarah didn't seem to think it was a big deal and said Ethan was being too sensitive. Laura was furious but tried to stay calm. I finally had enough and told Sarah that if she couldn't keep her kids in check, I wasn't going to keep doing favours like driving them to school every day. I've been taking all the kids to school since Sarah moved in because her car broke down and she hasn't been able to get it fixed. It's about a 20-minute detour for me, and I was happy to do it at first, but after all this, I told her it was too much, and she needed to figure it out on her own. Now, Sarah is upset, saying I'm punishing her and her kids over something small, and it's not fair for me to leave her stranded. She even went as far as to say I was being petty and holding a grudge against the kids. She thinks I'm overreacting and should just let it go for the sake of family harmony. My wife is 100% on my side and thinks Sarah's kids have been out of line for months. But now, Sarah's giving me the cold shoulder and telling other family members that I'm being unreasonable, so AITA for refusing to drive them to school anymore.